Hey friends, my name's Ciotti, and I forgot to turn this power strip on. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. We are going to dive down the 35mm prop rabbit hole again, because there are more new propellers, and I've never tried it on 0702s. I've always done 35. I've always combined 35mm props with 802s because the 35mm props have always been heavy. Like these Gemfan 35s, very heavy. Now we've got even the newer Gemfans. So we've got Gemfan 35mm PC 2-blade 1mm here that I've previously tested, and then triblade versions of them. But again, they're heavy. They're heavier than 31mm props. But now we've also got HQ ultralights, 1.4 by 1.1 by 3. And so maybe these are light enough that when... And I'm also going to test these Gemfans, because I haven't tested them on 702s yet. And so, yeah, maybe these propellers... Maybe these HQs are light enough where the 702s will work. Maybe these Gemfans are light enough, and I just never tested them on 702s to find out that they'll work right. So yeah, that's the plan for today. We're gonna tear apart this perfectly good, not really tear apart, just frame swap. This perfectly good Air 65 V2 that BetaFPV sent me with the version 2 motors. 0702 SE version 2, 27,000 kV. This is, so I also have the Air 65 Race on the 30,000 kV motors, and so that's my Air 65. This being together, I'm just not going to fly it because the Race is lighter and on higher kV motors. These motors being 27,000 kV, which is a little bit low, they're perfect candidates for the bigger props to kind of wake these propellers up. Let's weigh this. I always forget to weigh stuff before I go tearing it apart and doing all kinds of wacky shit to it. I've not forgotten today. So we're going to keep the camera, canopy, antenna, motors, and AIO the same. This is a this is the 5-in-1 AIO, direct soldered. It's not the matrix AIO. That'll also benefit this thing a little bit. This AIO is lighter weight. I was kind of thinking of doing this with the Matrix AIO that they sent me, but nah, that thing is good to go. We're gonna rip this guy apart. So yeah, this is gonna give these 1.4 inch 35 millimeter props every possible chance in the world to work. This is kind of like the lightest AIO setup, right? Like this is the Air 65 AIO that lots of people complain about being fragile. On Friday's live stream, somebody in the chat had said that they've blown up 4 of these AIOs in like a couple of months. That's pretty ridiculous. And so we're gonna get this AIO directly into this frame, see if we can, see if we can find some magic with these 1.4 inch props, and then if the AIO dies, the AIO dies. In the chat, Bad was first, Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper was second, Schnauzer FPV was third. Speaking of schnauzers, today is Teddy's 3rd birthday. We took him for a pup cup, so now he'll have diarrhea. Very exciting day. This Air 65, who knows what that's from? This Air 65 build is 16.9 grams. Can somebody remember that so that when I eventually weigh the big ass version of it, I can have I can compare the weights to one another. Let's, I'm also gonna, this is not a great idea, but I'm gonna use peak screws. So yeah, somebody that's staying till the end of the live stream, somebody that's desperate to know if the 35 millimeter prop thing is gonna work, write that down, 16.9 grams, and then remind me at the end, please. Somebody say I'll do it in chat so that we can rely on one person, and so that if you don't make it to the end of the stream, we can hunt you down and just harass the living hell out of you. All right, so I've got. Whenever you use peak screws, in my opinion, you want to leave the outer screw metal. Outer screw metal. EO, thanks for subscribing, brother. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, leave the outer screw metal and then do peak screws on the 2 inners. That'll give you a much more durable setup than anything else in the world. That's not true. All right. Where did I leave off in chat? FizzPV, Frank Nicholas, Smoking Dog Cujo, Thumpa, Brandon's Baked Beans, Brent Anderson, Douglas Six, Adam Weston, Chris Mel, Yin Yang, Mike K, Hendrix Freakazoid, Skystop FPV, V Pro, King Dingaling, Stan Deely, Matthew Wegner, V Pro, Flycadelic. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging. If you want to talk directly to me, just type CiottiFPV like Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper said. He did. He said, "Good evening, CiottiFPV and Gangly Gang. How you all doing?" King Dingling says, "I'm a firm believer that the RCinpower 702 29,000s are the right motor, at least for the 35 millimeter biblades. Build is a little over 18 grams, and it's the only analog rig I'm keeping after flying 04. That's interesting. Yeah, the RCinpower motors make mega power. What I don't like about them is that the motor shafts are thinner, a little bit thinner than HappyModel motors, and the efficiency is kind of brutal. Previously, when I've dove into these 35 millimeter props, the amount of weight that is gained with the 65 Pro frame and the bigger props, and usually the bigger motors that I put on, really killed the efficiency. Maybe leaving it on 0702s, maybe the extra weight of the bigger frame will be offset by the fact that we're using bigger propellers. I wish there was an HQ ultralight biblade, but there's not. So I have a funny feeling that these HQ ultralight triblades will maybe give me the flight performance I'm looking for, but not the runtime. Hopefully these Gemfan biblades will give me both the runtime and the flight performance that I'm looking for. Well, let's weigh some of these props. Since we've got the scale out here, let's use it before I forget that it exists. This is a build that I would actually want to get onto a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, because again, we're gaining weight. So I have a feeling if I do end up flying this build a bunch, we're gonna run into motor durability problems, but you never know. So 4 of the HQ ultralight 1.4 by 1.1 by 3s are 0.77 of a gram. 4 of the old school giant heavy 35 millimeter Gemfan props, wow, are 1.3 gram. 1.3 grams. 4 of the Gemfan biblades are, hey, look at that, 0.68 of a gram. That's pretty awesome. And then 4 of the Gemfan triblades are 1, 2, 3, 4. 0.91 of a gram. So if you want to do a tri-blade, it looks like the HQ ultralights are definitely the way to go. My guess is going to be that they are as fragile as all of the other HQ ultralights that we've run in the past, which is kind of annoying, but you know, if you're not flying it unrecoverable, who cares, right? If you're flying it inside your house or somewhere that you can get it back, regardless of where you crash, whatever. The HQ ultralights perform a lot better, and that's amazing. But definitely something to kind of remember if you're going to fly one of these things outside and be, you know, ripping around trees and whatnot. If a propeller if the hub of the propeller explodes, which is what happens, and you're up above a tree, it's a tiny whoop, yo. It's not going to fall down through the tree. It's just going to stay up in the tree till the dawn of time, which is a little scary. Let's run these crazy nuclear banana lime green Gemfans here. High left, high right, high right. Where's a high left? There's a high left. All right. Yeah, we'll when we go to run the Gemfans, we won't run these nice demure smoke crotch gray ones. We'll run the atomic banana nuclear nuclear yellow green ones. VPro says, also, local drift RC guys started gathering again, and I feel like 32,000 kV is way too high for 17.5 gram rig. I had to limit it to 80%, even with 0.5 expo to get good results. Does it make sense? Everybody's different, man. You know, it's chasing RC drift cars is arguably the most challenging thing that you'll do with a tiny whoop, and the higher the KV is, the more difficult throttle control is going to be. So yeah, running a bunch of expo is really, really nice, but having motors that don't turn as high of an RPM also helps quite a bit. I would not change the motors. I would just leave them motor limited down for throttle control. Your throttle control will not change between motor limiting 32,000s versus going down to like 27 or 28,000s. What will change is the efficiency. You'll get a little bit more. So if you're not getting enough efficiency, then yes, maybe drop down in KV. But if the efficiency is okay on your current setup, I would just leave it alone. Leave it motor limited down. Yeah. There you go. So I'm going to start unscrewing stuff, because basically I need to unscrew everything on here. I also need to pull these propellers off, though. This has little tiny 1.2 inch props, and they need to go. These motors are going to stay, but the props have got to go. So yeah, there you go. I'm super interested to see what 27,000 kV is going to be like on these bigger propellers. In theory, it should be pretty good. It should be all right. You know, BetaFPV's 27,000 kV is different from everyone. Not everyone. It's different from what I'm used to, which is HappyModel. They measure their kV quite a bit different. Those of you that here's a nice segue, and trying to browbeat you into joining my Patreon for as little as $3 whole a month, which is only 10 cents a day. Over on Patreon, there are links to a bunch of spreadsheets that I've put together through testing that we've done during these live streams. One of those spreadsheets is gonna have like actual RPMs for all of these motors, and what you'll see in there. Oh no, this is the prop testing one. Where's the other one? FPV weights. Here we go. So FPV. That's not the one either. FPV weights. Tiny Whoop data. Here's the one. Yeah. Tiny Whoop data. So if I go to like November 17th, hopefully I tested these BetaFPV. Yeah, I did. So like, for example, right? The BetaFPV 702 27,000 kV. The estimated kV is actually 29,750. The way that I did the testing. And then if you compare that to like a HappyModel 0702 32,500 kV, the estimated kV on that motor is actually 30,250. And so these motors on here are not going to perform similar to what you would expect from a HappyModel motor with a 28,000 kV number stamped on the bell. So always keep that in mind. HappyModel tests their kV differently than pretty much everyone else. VCI, BetaFPV, Newbie Drone, they seem to all test their kV in a way that it reads a little bit low on the motor, and HappyModel tests their kV in a way that it reads a little bit high. Sure wish that they would all just get together and agree, or just send an email and agree with a way to test kV, because God knows how many people don't know about this, right? Like, it's more certainly, you know, I certainly don't reach 50% of the Tiny Whoop crowd. So more than 50% of people probably don't know this, and they'll go out and they'll buy a HappyModel or Tiny Whoop or Weebleed motor that says 30,000 kV, and then they'll buy a VCI or a BetaFPV or Newbie Drone motor that says 30,000 kV, and then they'll go, oh my god, HappyModel sucks, their motors don't make any power. But then if they keep flying them for a little bit, they'll go, oh my god, HappyModel motors are so incredibly efficient. We have found that the HappyModel motors just are more efficient. They do something a little different. I have a weird feeling it has to do with the way they wind their motors. It seems to be HappyModel is the only company that uses WYE, the WYE winding method on the stator poles. Everybody else seems to use the Delta method. And so maybe that has something to do with efficiency. Maybe it doesn't. I do have a funny feeling that that has to do, that does affect where the throttle sort of like feels good. All of the racers seem to be moving towards the Delta wound motors, even though they're not as efficient. And I've heard that the Delta wound motors, you get better throttle resolution at the top, like above 50% throttle, which is where racers fly. Those of us that freestyle, we fly down below 50%, right? 30%, 35%, maybe 40% at the most. And so for us, in my experience, the WYE motor, the WYE scheme, or maybe it's just something magical about HappyModel motors. But yeah, I've found the HappyModel motors to kind of feel better and give better throttle resolution at that lower point of the just where I fly, which is the lower point of the throttle. I've never put a significant amount of time or effort into racing to be able to like to say that, or flying 65 millimeter whoops outside. You know, I could certainly start flying these things outside, and that would probably lead to me using higher throttle values, and maybe I'd be able to tell a difference. Problem with flying these things outside is going to be that I'm going to just torch the batteries, right? Flying these batteries down in a minute and a half is really stressful on them, and I try not to do that. BadgerFPV says, did you do the IGOW's new challenge, Power Loop Challenge? I tried it for the last couple of live streams, and I couldn't do it. I'm not a very good pilot. And so, yeah, I was not able to do, in the basement at least, you know? And I'm trying to do it, like, through gates and shit. But, yeah, I'm just not good enough. I tried to do the, split S into Immelman. I also never do Immelman, so I'm not used to doing them. But I couldn't get the damn thing back up through the gate. I'm just, you know. There are many, 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 many pilots better than I am. I'm better than most, but not nearly as good as an awful lot of folks out there. So I've got the squid out. We're gonna drop the squid into the Meteor 65 Pro frame. Put the little arrow pointing backwards, the way it should be. The hardest part is always jamming the 180 degree BT 2.0. Oh wow, no, it went right through there. That was pretty nice. 65 Pro frame is noticeably bigger. It is noticeably easier to... Oh wait, no, I was putting the motors through the wrong spot. Never mind. It is noticeably bigger though. The prop guards around the propellers, you can definitely, even though it's only 4 millimeters, you can definitely tell. Screws are falling out, to be expected. I'm being absolutely as gentle as I possibly can here because these motors are direct soldered, and they are very fragile because of that. All right, so I got the motors through. Let's get the AIO pushed down on the frame. Nothing's in the way. That looks fine. Okay. Hopefully this... I'm assuming that this AIO is going to work. It certainly looks like it's going to clear, so that's good. At the moment, the canopy is kind of getting in the way. Get out of there. Okay, there we go. So, there it is. Okay. 2 posts pushed down, 3... Oh, motor wires are getting a little jankily over here. Oh man, this just barely fits in this frame. Hold on. I gotta point these motor wires straight down, otherwise it's not gonna clear. Okay, there we go. And there it is. Hey, Butterfly FPV put out a really interesting video about what to do when motors start twitching. He seems to think it... I mean, he's right. It can be a problem with the motor plugs. Once the motor plugs get old and worn out, that can cause motors to start twitching. I think that's pretty rare. I think it's usually going to be an ESC FET on its way out. That's been my experience. But if you want to test that, or if you just want to not throw an AIO away as soon as the motors start twitching, something I never thought to try is to remove the motor plugs and direct solder motors. So that AIO becomes a direct solder motor. Hopefully it has pads on it. You know, otherwise you're just going to throw it away, right? So you might as well see if that'll bring it back to life for at least a little bit. He tried a bunch of different methods of cleaning the contacts on the motor plugs, and he would get like another couple batteries out of it, and then it would start to act up again, which to me that means that the problem is elsewhere and you're just kind of getting lucky, because it's not like you would clean the contacts and then they would get dirty again that quickly. So I think it was what is it? Causation does not equal correlation. I feel like that maybe applies here. But yeah, give it a shot, right? If you've got an AIO that has motor plugs that is becoming unflyable because one of the motors just keeps twitching, try direct solder in a set of motors. It's kind of annoying because you're going to have to sort of ruin a set of motors by direct soldering it. Not necessarily ruin, but like create a bunch of work for yourself if you then in the future want to not have those motors direct soldered, right? Because you're going to have to find a set of leads with the connectors on them and then solder them back on. But not the end of the world. And hey, with prices going the way they're going, anything and everything we can do to extend the life out of some of this stuff is a really, really good thing here. So I'm just getting these motors bolted down, dropping some peak screws in here to keep this absolutely as light as it possibly can be. All right. Why do I do this? I can't talk, which is what I have to do during live streams when I hold things with my mouth. Frank Douglas says, correlation does not indicate causation. That's it. That's it. Indicate. That's the word I was groping for. Brent Anderson says, Bardwell mentioned ESC temp protection issue with motors too. That's interesting. I've never really dove into that. What did he say about it? ESC temperature protection issue. Huh. Make sure I didn't just break this motor wire off. Now we're good. It's hanging on by at least one single thread. Man, the direct soldered motor thing it's a lot. Especially if there's flat pads. I have a little bit more respect for the direct soldered motor thing if there's the instead of having flat pads on the AIO, if it has the little half moon pockets on the side so that you can run the wires straight down, which is where they need to go to clear the frame. But these AIOs that have flat pads and then you run the motor wire right off the flat pad right into the side of the frame, like, I don't like that, man. Like, if that frame pushes inwards, it's going to be pushing right on the part of the wire that's got a pretty severe bend in it. It would almost be worth it to desolder these and take the wires, switch them from pointing outwards to pointing inwards, just to keep the wires as far away from the duct as possible. But I'm not going to do that. Because it's probably pretty rare that you can crash this thing hard enough to push the inside of the duct against the AIO. Rio Lai says, have you heard from anyone who was able to get an HDMI output from the DJI Goggles 3 or N3? Yeah, everybody that flies live broadcasts, myself included. I'm doing a Raspberry Pi setup with Cosmos Streamer. Frank Nicholas very amazingly sent over a Raspberry Pi, so I just need to get the Cosmos Streamer license and get that all going, and my live broadcast setup. Oh, and do a couple of new fresh builds, and I'll have a 03/04 live broadcast setup. But yeah, loads and loads and loads of people in the live broadcast world have been doing that for, well, I mean, since the day that the Goggles 3 came out, I'm sure, if not before, because those guys probably got pre-release stuff. I fly analog and walk snail with AR glasses. I want to fly DJI, but they do not have an HDMI out. Yeah, the only way to get HDMI out of DJI has always been either the RC Pro that DJI sells for an obscene amount of money, or Cosmos Streamer, which is still pretty expensive, but nowhere near as expensive as the stupid DJI Pro controller nonsense. Gasly says, hey, wondering what you think of the HappyModel Super F405 HD AIO 2 to 4S. I don't think I really know anything about that one. 2 to 4S. Let's see. 3 to 4S. Super F405 HD. So if this is the one, it's oversized, so it's not going to fit in any whoop frames. So this is going to be kind of like toothpick only. Looks like it comes with an ELRS antenna, which is pretty cool. So they've put ELRS on board. I like that. That's slick. Yeah, I mean, for a toothpick, that would be pretty cool. And then with this big old port on it, you can probably set up like an 04 or whatever plug and play, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it looks good. Tiny, tiny, tiny little pads to direct solder to with a... Oh, those are a little bit bigger on the... This is probably the top. Yeah, this is the top of it here. Well, I mean, it depends. Oh, yeah, totally a toothpick AIO. It's got the USB port on the side here rather than sticking straight up and down. So yeah, for a toothpick, could be good. I don't know anything about it. I've never used one. I've never really heard about it. Looks like battery leads here. Fairly standard stuff. Yeah, could be good. Euro says, the collective just has spoken. At moment your cast started, my other PC broke down. Hello. All right, cool. I got the motors bolted down here. Let's get the canopy screwed down. I'm going to use the BetaFPV screws that they send, which are a little short. I don't really like how short these screws are, but unbelievably, I haven't had them strip one of these frames out yet. I'm kind of waiting for that to happen, so we'll keep using them until that does happen. Although this is a fresh frame, so yeah. In my opinion, you should get rid of the BetaFPV silver canopy screws that they ship with and use anybody else's canopy screws. If you use like any other canopy screw, it's typically going to be black and it'll look cooler, but it'll also be a little bit longer. These BetaFPV canopy screws are the shortest that I've ever seen. It's always kind of blown me away that I haven't had one strip a frame out. But, yeah. Do that. Kind of ran out of steam there. Rax Sumchi incorrectly says silver screws are greater than black screws. I mean, what I will say is that these silver screws do match the silver BetaFPV motors. So there's that. All right. Last canopy screw getting cranked down here. Do I have some batteries that are done? Wow, the batteries aren't quite done yet. Ask me some questions, friends. I don't have a single battery that's fully charged. You know what? I need to go into Beta Flight and not change the direction of these motors. I will go into Beta Flight and back the tune off a little bit, though, since we're going to... Well, actually, I probably want to make the tune more aggressive, come to think of it. It's going to sort of depend on the resonant frequency of this bigger frame. So what I'll actually do is leave everything exactly as it is. I'm going to leave it alone. Should I run the HQ triblades first or the Gemfan biblades first? I'm going to run the HQ triblades first because I think the problem with this rig is going to be runtime related. And these HQ triblades are heavier and more draggy than the Gemfan biblades. So, yeah, I'm going to run the newest propeller first, the HQ ultralight, and then when the runtime sucks, I'll swap it over to the Gemfan buys to see if we can get a little bit of extra flight time out of it. HQ, ultralight, 1.4 by 1.1 by 3 triblades. Do they need to be drilled out? Let's see. These are on. This is on BetaFPV 0702 version 2s. No, they fit just about perfect on these motor shafts. Let me micrometer these BetaFPV motor shafts. I can't believe I haven't been doing this on all these different motors that I've been testing. 0.98. 0.98. Let's do another one. This one's 0.97. Let's do a third one. 0.98. Okay. So let's compare that to HappyModel motors. This is a set of the new HappyModel motors. 0.98. Look at that. Cool. Let's grab an older HappyModel motor. 0.98. Ooh! Do I still have that set of RCinpower motors? I don't think so. I think somebody bought them. But, let me see. I gotta... Fuck you. I got a little bag of motors here that are for sale over on my Etsy store. There's a bunch of 65mm motors. Motors that would work well on 65mm builds, I should say, for sale over there on my Etsy store. You hear what I just said? I said over there on me Etsy store. Here they are. Let's see if there's any RCinpowers in here. I don't think there are, but... Nope. Nope. There's some old newbie drones in here, which are the same thing as... which are made by HappyModel. You can tell by the bell design. Here's an iFlight motor. I've always thought that this motor shaft was thinner than others because it was super fragile. Okay, hold on. I'm going to tear this thing out. There we go. This is an iFlight 803, I believe. Oh, wow, no! 1.00, right on the nose. Good for you, iFlight. Nope, 0.97. I pushed the jaws together harder, and it went to 0.97. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I wonder how hard I have to push these jaws back together. What's up, little boo? Hi. A wild little boo has entered the room to get their bag and to beat the dog. You can beat him. Carry him. Yeah, carry him. He's a fat dog. A wild little boo and a birthday dog have arrived. What do you guys think? What's everybody think? Great or terrible? Great dog or terrible dog? Write it in the chat. Good dog or bad dog? Birthday dog or cook him for dinner dog?
You want him?
No, I don't want him.
Oh,
Get him out of here. You can put him down. Just because I don't want him doesn't mean he's not welcome. Teddy's the best. All right, chat has decided. Good dog. What are you doing, Bobo? Bobo and I were just playing Little Big Planet. Hey. This is cool that these propellers don't need to be drilled out. Good on HQ. Can I pet that dog? No, that's a bear. I just saw a short of somebody that was on one of those like Alpine, like the Alpine scooter run things that go down that. Well, they were on the incline part. The machine was pulling them up, and there were a bunch. So they're on the little cart, and there was bears right next to the track, and they're like, they just sat there, and the bears didn't eat them, but, woo boy, Bears, bro. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. 3 things absolutely essential to being a shroot. Teddy, what are you laying there for? What's up? What's up, buddy? Yeah, these props drop right onto these motors without needing to be drilled out. Good job, HQ. You're getting that inner diameter together. This thing is ready to go. All right. Hey, one of the batteries is all set. I'm not even going to put this thing into beta flight. I'm just going to fly it. Uriel says, is somebody also having PC problems? I don't know. Rack says, is Etsy taking a cut or do you get full profit? Everybody takes a cut. Any website that you're going to team up with, they're always going to take a cut. Etsy's cut is smaller than most, but yeah, they all take something. So if you don't want Etsy to get any of your money, go to CiottiFPV.com. My contact info is up on the top. Like, join the Discord, talk to me there. Instagram, that's another good one. Oh yeah, Amazon is brutal. Yeah, lots of ways you can contact me. Tell me what you want, and I'll tell you what it's going to cost. You can PayPal me, and away we go. That's the way to get me money that nobody takes a cut. But Etsy, Fiverr, they're not bad. They're not bad at all. Hold on, let me get this ELRS antenna figured out here. Make sure it's not kinked at the base. Nah, we're good. What I typically do on these with these air canopies is I'll put like a 90-degree angle in the ELRS antenna, and then I'll just tuck it above the camera, in between the camera and the canopy. That seems to do a really good job keeping it out of the way. And it's up somewhat high, so you still get half decent signal strength out of it. For best signal strength, you want to just run it completely vertical. But if you do that, it's long enough where it'll sit up above the canopy, and it can like catch on the ground and do all kinds of weird shit. Maggie and I've seen it before, but I got Maggie into... So, 2 days ago, we started watching the new season of The Last of Us. I thought it was a whole season. We got to the end of the 3rd episode, and that was it. Now we got to wait for more. And so then we moved over... Since we always forget that we have Skinamax /HBO /whatever. And so... Yeah, I've watched Righteous Gemstones all the way through. It was filmed in Charleston, right by me when I lived there. And Maggie had tried watching it previously, but didn't love it. And I think she forgot about that because she saw the thumbnail and she was like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh, let's try watching it." And it's just as funny as I remember. And she didn't seem to hate it, which was a double bonus. So that was cool. 35mm props, yo. Air 65 converted to an Air 65 Pro. Let's see how it is. Brand new, not brand new, but fully charged Weebleed 1S 300 mAh battery. And a birthday dog. First impressions are good, man. It feels fine. Good power. Hey! Really good power, actually. All right, so let's do some prop wash runs. Wow, no prop wash. Let's take a quick look at where this tune is at to see how it has no prop wash whatsoever. Tune's pretty aggressive. D gain's up at 1.5, P&I up at 1.2. Where's the master? Master's at 1.0. Tune's not that aggressive. Move the I-term up a little bit. I usually like this up at 1.1. Not a super aggressive tune. These props are just probably really good. They're making a lot of thrust, and they're relatively lightweight. Although, now as I say that, the PID loop is freaking out. I must have bent one of these propellers in that crash. Yeah, because now the PID loop is losing its mind. Hold on. Let me spin each motor up and see if one of them's... They've all got slightly bent motor shafts. Hear it? Oh, I'm like 0 throttle and it's just flying away right now. So it had no... Oh boy, here we go with the BetaFPV VTX problems. It had no prop wash because the PID tune is at the limit of what's possible. So I'm going to have to start backing the tune down a little bit. But first... All right, backing the tune down just a little bit. It's still freaking out. Let's just run the rest of this battery out. Oh, this battery has fallen off a cliff. Okay, so 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That is not quite enough runtime. It's not nothing, but I usually want a little bit better runtime than that. Let's take a look at this thing. Feels all right. Frame's not broken yet. AIO looks fine. Let me just take a quick look around the AIO to make sure it's not pushing up against the frame in any kind of weird way that could be causing too many vibrations to get into the gyro. Well, the canopy is pressed. That's interesting. The canopy is pressed up against the frame on the sides, but I don't think that should be causing any problems. The camera plug is all the way plugged in, so the weird video issues that we were just having have nothing to do with that. The antenna is E6000 down, so yeah, I mean, BetaFPV always seems to have a hard time with their VTXs, and I've definitely seen that with all of their current line of AIOs, so that's probably just what that is. It's a situation where, like, you just stick with it for as long as you can, and eventually the VTX will just die all the way, and then you throw the AIO in the goddamn river and contemplate your life choices. So yeah, everything looks totally fine. We're just sort of at the limit, I guess, of what the PIDs can kind of handle. I think I remember having this AIO in the other frame. I think I remember having the PID tune at the limit there as well. But I'm just making sure that this ELRS antenna isn't doing anything weird. It seems to be in a good spot where it's not going to be wobbling around or causing any nonsense. And then the ORT micro V antenna that I have on here, kind of the same deal. Video noise and lines, again, that's just sort of BetaFPV, you know, they always seem to have a little bit of a tougher time than HappyModel. Although I will say on the Mobile 6 2024 on the new HappyModel AIO, there's some noise there as well. So, you know, those two AIOs are very, very lightweight. One of the ways that you can save weight on an AIO is to remove capacitance by removing capacitors. And when you do that, you get a more noisy electrical system. So more than likely that is what's going on there. Let's put another couple batteries through it and see if we can get over that like 2-minute 30-second runtime number that I usually like to try to be. I mean, I'm somewhat happy if I can get over 2 minutes, but I really like to be over 2 minutes 30, closer to 3 minutes to be honest. What's up, Levster? How are you? Let's see what's what. Let's go upstairs with this one, see how it feels in the giant living room. Oh, also, let me get the hover throttle dialed in. So I'm looking at 28, 30, 29, 30. So I'm going to set it to 30. See how that is. Profile. It's in rates. And then the amount is 20. The mid is 34. So let's bring that down to 30. That should feel a little bit... Oh, yeah, that feels better. So now you always have to check it again. 30. Yeah, 30 is perfect. Floaty. Floaty, floaty, floaty. Oh, I forgot to weigh it. I can't wait to see what this weighs. Does somebody remember? Oh, I love that move. That is absolutely my new favorite move. Does somebody remember what it weighed? Ooh! Before. That catch, though. Yeah, it's floaty, boy. Fly's great. Oh, God! Fan got me. Uh-oh. Good, everything's cool. Fan! Oh! Every time I crash it, the tune gets a little worse, I can tell. See it kind of wobbling around there? We're like over the limit on the tune again. Just these propellers from like little crashes, they're getting, you know, absolutely brand new fresh propellers are always amazingly balanced. Once you put a couple crashes in them, they get a little bit out of balance. And in this case, they're a little bit too out of balance. There we are, 2 minutes and 10 again. I mean, the battery's going to bounce back up. I could certainly run this battery farther down, but I really try not to. Because these batteries don't last all that long anyway. Yeah, none of these have taken a big enough hit to really be like full-blown bent up, but they're just getting worked in. When they get worked in a little bit from a couple of crashes, they're not as fresh anymore. Let's get this thing on the scale and see what it weighs. Mike K says, have you ever soldered a 1003 motor to a Flywoo Flylens 8504 AIO? No. That's the most specific question I think I've ever been asked. These pads are so damn tiny and I can't get it. That's annoying, dude. You need to have magnification. 17.61. So it didn't even gain a full gram. Wow. It used to be 16.9. So it gained 0.8 of a gram from going to the bigger frame and the bigger props. That's not bad at all. But it's heavier. And the runtime has come down because of that extra weight. Do I do another? I'll do another battery, and then we'll put it under the biblades and see if we can get some of that runtime back out of it. Let's do a quad gas battery. see what's happening. All right. And I've a big problem with all of these 65 Pro builds that I've done in the past has been flight performance. And this is really good. Oh my god. Hold on. It's the tune is a little overactive. If I keep flying it like this, it's going to eat the battery quicker than I want it to. Oh man, yeah, it's still having a really hard. The tune is still too aggressive. Damn it. See it stuttering every once in a while when I stab the throttle. There it is! I knew I could get that. Hey, crash recovery, just earning its place. Oh man, this thing's getting harder and harder to fly. Every time I crash, it gets a little bit worse. Which could be these motor shafts bending too, right? Like every single time you crash a tiny whoop, the motor shafts get a little bit more bent. Hey, it went through. I like the it has a nice pacing. That was a hard hit. It has a nice pacing to the way that it moves around, which basically just means that it's not too heavy for the size of the propellers. It floats down really nice. So this is a totally viable kind of build as far as I'm concerned. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. The 65 Pro frame, I don't think is all that durable compared to the Cockroach 65 V3. So that could become a problem. This frame will not work with any AIO that's not cut smaller. So that could be a little bit annoying. But if you have this frame, oh damn it! If you have this frame, build it lightweight, and these new HQ ultralight props are real good. Hey, there's 2.5 minutes. Hell yeah! I ran the battery down a little bit lower, I guess. But yeah, we got to 2.5 minutes. Wow, really good. I'm into that. I don't see a reason to do this as a build. You're handcuffing yourself to like 2 or 3 different propellers, only one frame. And I can't really say that this does anything better. Like, yeah, it floats nice, but the 65mm lightweight rigs float really nice too. I don't think this necessarily has more float. That was a different battery. This could be a fresher battery. But yeah, if you're looking for something to kind of screw around with, you know, let's try it on different props. Let's get these. But these HQ ultralights are really, really good. I'm super happy with the way this thing flies, which is a first. That's really the first time ever for a 1.4-inch build. Previously, I've put them on bigger motors, 802s, 603s, and they've just annihilated the battery. And or on the 603s, it was hard on the battery. On the 802s, it was just too heavy. The whole build was just too heavy, and that made it hard on the battery. These BetaFPV 702s, though, combined with these props, this is the response time here is good enough that it feels like locked in the air, and the PID loop was working really good. Even though I'm having to drop the PIDs down, it's still not prop washing. So thumbs up on these HQ props and 702s on this setup. All right, Gemfan biblades are next, the new school ones. Let me see if they stamped the pitch on here. Nope, they just call them 35mm S. I think the S is the new version of the prop. Let's see if they need to be drilled out. Okay. They do not. Cool. They drop right on there. What the hell? Why do the 35mm props that nobody uses, why are they set up with the perfect inner diameter, and all the other propellers that we all use much more often need to be drilled out? That seems kind of insane. All right. But whatever it takes, man. Maybe these 45mm props are just newer, and they are starting to figure out what the inner diameters need to be. Ooh, this one. Ouch. That one I had to push a little hard to get on there. So these could maybe be drilled out. Try one more. No, that one went on there fine. All right. Another battery. Gemfan 35mm S biblades now. See if we can get to 3 minutes. I really doubt that. I maybe like 2 minutes and 40 would be my guess, but we'll see. All right. Goggles coming on here. There we go. Hang on. Battery still shows that it's 50% charged, and yet the Fat Shark goggles decide to sit there and beep as if it's dead. Great work, guys! Great work. That's very mean to say. Fat Shark did do great work, and they made goggles that are unbelievably good. But boy, they missed the mark on the on whatever the hell senses the voltage and then tells it when to start beeping. All right, that'll be better. That'll be better. Why is the ELRS not? Because the transmitter's off. Here we go. No, this is just a different set of goggles. I have the Menace RC linear patch on my HDZero goggles. I forgot to get past the warnings on the transmitter. All right. Now we can get to it. Here we go. All right, Gemfan biblades. Sound way different. These props might be better balanced. I've not changed the PIDs. And I'm not getting the PID loop is in better control. The PID loop is not all angry like it was on the HQ ultralights. Jesus, lots of power. Holy shit, plenty of power, yo! Oh, I like these props. Oh, yeah, yo, the Gemfan biblades. The Gemfan 35S biblades. If these get good runtime, these are the props. Oh, shit, look at that! Oh. Yo! I had really high hopes for these props. And I've had good luck with those 603 motors in the past, but maybe it was just... I mean, as a motor size, 603 is really tough when you think about the ratio, right? That's a 2-to-1 ratio. Like, that's a motor that is going to get hot. It makes great power, and the and the response time is incredible. But yeah. Not wide enough to keep itself cool. We always want to see, at minimum, 3-to-1 width, 3-to-1 ratio of width to height on motors. Oh boy. So I'm getting a low battery warning already, which leads me to believe that the reason these props make so much power is because they're very pitchy. And that's going to cause them to not get the greatest runtime, but we'll keep going for another second here. I like to bring batteries home when at a dead hover they're at 3.5 volts. We are beyond that already. We got to 325. That ain't bad. And the minimum battery is 3.3. So these are, I think these are a little bit more efficient. On that last battery that we got to 3 minutes and 30, the minimum voltage was 3.25. So yeah, I think these are a little bit more efficient. Let's do another 2 batteries, and that'll kind of firm that up, hopefully, a little bit. Firm it up, baby. Firm that shit up. I could save a little bit of weight on this by shortening the battery lead, but other than that, this is about as light as you're going to be able to build it. It's got 8 peak screws, 4 metal screws. The BetaFPV canopy is pretty light. Micro V antenna is pretty light. 0702 motors are super light. Let's keep going here. Whoa, okay, easy fella. The PID loop is towards the limit. Every once in a while it won't spin the motors down when I turn it really hard, 0 throttle. Birthday dog, Teddy is 3 years old. Did you think you'd be getting harassed by tiny whoops on your birthday, Teddy? Sorry, whoop drones on your birthday, Teddy? Oh, hit the ceiling. This thing makes great power. Let's go upstairs. Oh, yeah, it makes real good power. Woo! Yeah, man. 702s on the 35 millimeter prop frames are the way to go for sure. No need for 802s or 603s. Like I said earlier, though, I don't necessarily... Oh, shit. I don't want to go in that plant. Hopefully I didn't shred it up too bad. I don't necessarily... Well, we'll do another stream comparing this to 65 millimeter rigs. I should have put more batteries in the charger, but... yeah, interesting. I mean, shit. If at 1 gram heavier, if it floats more from the bigger props, I'll actually kind of be all over that. It doesn't... It floats fine. I can't necessarily say that it floats better. But... I'm hitting all kinds of stuff. Maybe I'm just having a good day of flying. I did get some sleep last night. Come on, you son of a bitch. There we go. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me try that IGOW thing. Split S. Well, that was it. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but It's closer than I got with the 65mm rigs. Let's do another battery, and we'll just try that IGOW move over and over again. Look at that! 2 minutes and 37, but look at the minimum battery. I ran it all the way down to 3.2 at some point. So yeah, it looks like it's a little bit more efficient, which is pretty cool. Let's do another one. Let's try that IGOW move. It's although I guess it's next. Oh, there's a new one already, right? I missed last week's. I think there's a new one now, right? What's the new one? Does anybody know what the new? I think there's 2 levels of IGOW now, right? There's like normal and then there's advanced or whatever. And the advanced one is the one that I couldn't do. Which was a split S to Immelman. The new one is power loop. Well, that's easy. I've done about 8,000 of those already. Is there a new advanced one? The advanced should not be power loop. All right. Here we go. So let's try either last week's one or maybe it's still the current one. So it was split S to Immelman. So split S into Immelman. Boy, am I bad at Immelmans, though. I don't like this power loop and then roll out of it thing. I don't love the way that looks, but that's an Immelman. Stop it. You stop it right now. All right, so let's try the full McGillicuddy. Split S. Immelman. There was a little bit of a gap in between doing them there. Hold on. Oh, you bastard. Split S. This is close, second closest I've gotten. I always want to do power loop through those gates first. Hold on. Split. Oh, for fuck's sake. Split S. Aye. Hold on. Split S. Nope. Split S. Immelman. There it was. So eventually I did it. I had to build a 35mm rig to do it. Maybe this thing does float more. More float would make it easier to do shit. I think, to be honest, though, it's just because I got some sleep last night. I don't usually get much sleep. Because I've been hitting all kinds of shit. So the next stream will probably be 31mm versus 35mm. That'll be cool. And it looks like I've just eaten this battery. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Maggie, this is why I don't put things on those chairs. Maggie comes down and just like tries to do things down here. I'm like, no, man cave, mine. Let me take out the garbage, mine. There's a method to my madness. All right, here we go. Last couple of seconds of the battery. Man, I'm impressed, dude. I am impressed by this 65 Pro build. I kind of can't wait to test this against a regular 1.2-inch prop build. So, shit runtime on this one, but if you look at the minimum battery here, only 3.34. So, I definitely took... And look at it bouncing back. Look, it's bouncing all the way up to 3.7 already, and that's with it plugged in. You know, that's what I like to run batteries down to. I like for batteries to... bounce back to storage voltage. I find that doing that, these little batteries last a lot longer. If you don't care about that, yeah, by all means, run them down to fucking 0 volts. They won't last very long doing that, but yeah, I want them to... They already like don't last all that long. I want to try to eke out every little bit of ding-dong from them. But yeah, I still have the Menace RC linear antenna on the HDZero goggles. Linear patch antenna on these guys. The these are my old Fat Shark HD3s, which I've always run. I've run this Menace RC Pico 5.8 patch antenna forever. I originally got it because it was purple, but it's just always been really good to me. It's always been there. It just kind of works. And then I almost always run these True RC 90-degree extra longs to get this CP antenna up above my head, so it's not trying to penetrate through all the water that's in my brain. Yo! What? 35mm. I really like it on these Gemfan props. It was totally fine on these HQ triblades, although, yeah, the PID loop was having significantly more trouble with these than with these guys. And that would probably only get worse and worse and worse as I crash these more. I do absolutely love that these come in this purple color. It looked way better with these props on it, but, you know, I can't see it when I'm flying it, so I might as well fly the props that perform better, right? Right? No? The ones that look better? Yeah. Because, as we all know, if you're not going to fly good, you better look good. That's the way it is. Damn, dude, I'm really impressed by this. I mean, I will say we are kind of doing all of the favors for this. We've got the lightest weight possible build for it with the Air 65 5-in-1 direct soldered motors, little 702s. KV seems about right. 27,000 KV makes really, really good power. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. CO3 camera, BetaFPV canopy. This combo is pretty lightweight. Micro V is pretty lightweight. So yeah, I mean, and this was in a regular 65mm frame, and it flew great. Flew absolutely. I'm gonna say like every bit as good, but it's different now, and it very well could float more. Like, look at the difference. Look at the difference in size between these two. Like, that's definitely noticeable. Hold on. This'll show it a little bit better. So let's go here, and we'll go here, and I'll put the bottoms on the ground there. Look at the difference in the top. These are sitting right next to each other, right? I don't have like one in front of the other one. These are sitting exactly even with one another. It's not a huge difference, right? It's point, what is it? 0.2 of a millimeter per prop. But it's something. It's something. A little bit heavier, gram heavier, but extra size might make it float a little bit more. Super interesting. I wish that I'd charged more batteries to compare it, but oh man, we have enough time too. God damn it. Let me put. Ooh. I'm gonna put 2 batteries in the charger. I'm gonna crank it up, and then we're gonna do a. Oh shit! That's a 450. I don't want that. Do I not have another lava? But where the hell did all the lava batteries go? They're all in the little case. Okay, forget it. I'm gonna take a couple of 260 mAh batteries. Well, no, I don't. I gotta build. Oh shit! Yeah, no. Hold on. What am I gonna compare it to? I gotta figure out what the hell I'm gonna compare it to. I guess this Matrix build on the 40,000 kV motors. Can you? There we go. 0.9 of an amp. And then I'm just going to grab these 2. Who else has flown their 6 batteries today? Who's flying them right now? 6 batteries a day, my friends. If you fly 6 batteries a day, you'll be a much better pilot before you even realize it. So do it. Start right now. Fly your 6 batteries today, or else I'm going to slap you with a dead fish. Maybe even a live fish, if I can keep it alive long enough on the commute from me to you. We'll see. All right, so 35 millimeter bag, away we go. Let me get caught up on chat while those are. I really have to go to the bathroom. I was kind of hoping this was we were closer to 5 o'clock because it's not going to be a quick bathroom trip. I had French toast last night. I'm seeing if my stomach can handle French toast, and I have a feeling that it can't. So it's not going to be a quick bathroom break. So I can't just go. Oh God, Jesus! Get this battery charged up. Let's get this thing into Betaflight and take a look at it. See if I can maybe mess around with the filters to get a little bit more headroom out of the tune. Although, I mean, it's fine on these props. It was just on the HQ props that it was a little bit upset. But these Gemfan biblades seem to have a little bit better runtime, and they don't seem like they're too slidey. So I think these are the ones. Andrew Tiller says, "Go take a French dump." What's that mean? King Dingaling says, "Are you running Chris Rosser's Blue Jay settings on that AIO?" I'm running the karate preset in Chris's settings to get plenty of runtime. I think the only real thing that Chris changes is the timing. I believe he puts the timing to medium, which is something that I started doing. Other than that, I don't really think he does anything all that special with the settings. I forgot to feed power to the damn thing. But let's take a look. Let's disconnect, and we're going to try to reconnect here. Read settings. Let's see. So it looks like I'm on the newest version of Blue Jay, locked in at 48K. I've got the motor timing on medium. Yeah, pretty standard kind of settings. I think I'm going to start turning off brake on stop. It's not. I don't think it's ever caused me any problems, but one less thing to have turned on. Temperature protection disabled. Beacon delay 2 minutes. Motor timing media. Yeah, pretty standard settings. Nothing crazy. And then let's connect to Betaflight here, see what's what. Let me unplug the battery. All right. Why is it not connecting? Can you connect, please? Please connect. Oh, Betaflight. Why are you like this? There we go. Connect. What? Why won't you connect, you little jerk? Let's power cycle the quad. Maybe it's angry that it was hooked up to Blue Jay. Yep, it was angry that it was hooked up to Blue Jay. So let's see here. PID tune, I'd been backing off. I'm kind of surprised that there's not more prop wash than there is, because these P and D gain settings are not all that aggressive, but whatever, man. Not a lot of throttle expo, and it still felt pretty good. That was kind of cool. Take a look at the filter settings. So probably does not have a BMI 270 because I don't have the wacky filter settings set up. Dynamic notch filter is, the max frequency is a little bit low. Let me move this max frequency up to 800. Q factor is pretty high at 500 actually. I'm actually going to try moving this D-term filter multiplier up. I'm going to remove filtering because usually on Tiny Whoops we have too much filtering. And too much filtering is almost as bad as not enough. Yeah, this looks like it's set up pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy. That little change that I made is not going to be drastic. I'm going to leave this all alone because it's flying real nice. Let me get the air mode. Let me turn off permanent air mode and put it on a switch here, which I've been doing lately. Kind of cool. Just fire up the transmitter. Power cycle the quad so that it gets out of Wi-Fi mode. And we're going to connect. And then we're going to go to modes. And now that I turned off permanent air mode, I should have an option for air mode. I'm going to click at range. I'm going to hit the switch that it's on. That's aux 6. And so air mode is going to be enabled in this switch position. And then when I flip the momentary switch, it's going to turn air mode off by going over here outside of the range. So now we save it. And now we've got air mode on a momentary switch. It's on all the time until I flip the switch, and that turns it off. That's the setup that you would want for anything that you're ever going to go zero throttle with. So every single freestyle cinematic kind of rig. Racing, you can make the argument that you're never zero throttle, so just don't run air mode. I don't know. If you do go zero throttle in a race and you don't have air mode on, it's not going to stay where you want it to. It's going to potentially flop all over the place, which is not good because you're not going to expect that. Everything else is set good. Bad says, first time catching the stream since the Tiny Whoop opened. Glad to hear Maddie likes the drone I made him. Oh, is that you, Bad? You have a different name somewhere else. Yeah, he was saying how awesome it was. That case is super cool for it as well. BMF Spade says mine do the same. Beep with a half a battery and their HDO Plus. Yeah, Fast Shark missed the boat on the voltage sensing, but whatever. They did everything else right. Alexander Los Who says, hope you're good, bro. I am. How about you? Frank Nicholas says, I wonder if the goggle voltage beep is for lipo and the packs you're using are lithium ion. If so, they have different low voltage readings. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if I use lithium ions in the goggles, it would be so much worse. Right. Looks like a bunch of you guys are flying. Very cool. Very, very cool. And I think I'm caught up on chat. Yeah, looks like I'm good. All right, so let's get this thing. Oh no, let's get the black box emptied out while we're in here. Hey Brandon, are you in the chat? If Brandon's Baked Beans is in the chat, maybe he's dying to look at a black box log right now. If so, if he's just dying to look at a black box log, how much of a monster would I be to not satiate that urge that he might have right now? I can do a log on this, and then he can take a look at it and tell us what he thinks. There's a spider. What are you doing, spider? Get out of here, spider. Spider, you're in a bad place, man. This desk, my hands are flopping around. There's tiny whoops flopping around. You're going to get crushed. Get out of here. There he goes. He's gone. All right. Black box logs are emptied out. Let me make sure that I have it set up on the switch that I think it's set up on. Oh, apparently I don't. That's weird. He was here early. He was here really early on in the stream. I'm going to set it up to log with the switch position that I usually set it up to log on, which is that one. All right, cool. Let me turn this transmitter off. And all right, yeah, this thing is all the way set up the way that I like it now. And you can see by the gyro and PID loop frequencies being 8 and 4 that this is not a BMI 270. This is either the ICM gyro or could be an MPU 6000. I really doubt it. If you ever want to look that up, go into the CLI and type status, STATUS, and then it will tell you what the gyro is. And so, yeah, it's an ICM 42688. 688. which is an okay gyro. I've heard people bitch and moan about it. I've had a harder time with the BMI 270s than the ICM 42688. But it's a kind of a moving target. These batteries are slowly charging. I don't know if they're gonna get there before 5 o'clock, but we'll see. Let's take another quick look around here. Minimum cell voltage. Now, I mean, the warnings are coming on pretty much right where I like them. When it starts giving me the warnings, I come in and land, and the battery bounces up to where it should be. So yeah, this thing's set up fine. Setup is good. Why didn't I put 260 mAh batteries in the charger? I really wanted to see how this thing flew on a 260. I'm putting one on there right now. Maybe it'll charge up extra quick because it's just a little fella. What else is happening with you guys? Who's building something? What are you building? If you're building, what are you building? What am I building next? So when I get the 04 Pro sent in and it comes back, it is going to get put into the BetaFPV canopy. That's something that I have kind of decided on, so that'll be good. There's an AIO that's been sitting here. This is Timon sent me this. This is a Super X HD ELRS. And so I believe that this will take 2S. Let's see. Super X ELRS HD. Let's look it up. Super X HD AIO. What do we got? Get FPV. That looks like it's the one. Let me see here. Hold it up like that. Yep, that's the one. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Never used to be that expensive. So F411, 12 amp, 1 to 2S, BL Heli S with ELRS. So when they call an AIO HD, what they mean is that there's no OSD on board. You can see here there's no, you can get out of here. There's no giant rectangular OSD chip on here. This is hopefully the bottom. Nope, this is another picture of the top. But I'm holding it in my hand and I can tell you that there's no giant rectangular OSD chip on here. All of the HD systems have they use RX and TX, and they draw their own OSD basically on the VTX. So yeah, this is a good candidate for an HD build. I just got all these walk snail AIOs back. So yeah, this'll be the basis for either a walk snail or an 04 HD build. The rig that we took apart the other night is on the BetaFPV AIO. So this was the 1.6 inch 04 build. Previous to that, this was the walk snail build. I've got it set up with the plug header for 04 though, so this is going to stay together. That's kind of a shame because what I could do, this is the AIO that will work in the Mobula 7 V4 frame, which saves a little tiny bit of weight, but I'm not pulling it apart since I have this plug header on it. So this is not going to be a walk snail build. So this is what I'll use for a walk snail build. Because walk snail is great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's not as good as 04, but nothing's as good as 04. And nothing will ever be as good as 04, as far as I'm concerned. So, cool. All right, let's spec that out. So we've got the AIO that we're going to use for a walk snail light build. That has a plug header on it. Do these all have plug headers on them? They probably do. So, all right. I'm going to need a walk snail camera. Ooh. Ooh, hold on. Hold on. There's some wacky builds that I've been thinking about. There's some wacky builds. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Boy, do I have to take a shit. Wacky builds. What are the wacky builds that I wanted to do? I was thinking about doing a 65 millimeter build with 450 mAh batteries, but that's only 1S. Newbie Drone had a print that would hang down below their V3 frame. And oh, or I guess I could do a toothpick build, but now toothpick builds are stupid when the USB port goes down the bottom. This is a Whoop build. I could do a 2-inch walk snail build with the 1003s. I have that frame sitting over there. I have a Mobula 7 V3 frame sitting right here with RCinpower 1002s. I should probably do this. I should probably do this build. Use this frame. RCinpower 1002 18,000s. But see, I also have this cool little guy that we didn't quite get finished up before I went away. And I do need to finish up. This is an Insta360 Go 2 carrying 2S analog build. Since this Super X will take 2S, it's definitely getting built to be 2S. I have to go to the bathroom, and it's going to take a while. So we're going to stop specking out this build right now. I'm going to get caught up on chat, and then I'm going to go have a shit. Need to have a sheet. Need to have a shite. I said sheet. BMF Spade says, have you used your Nomad module yet? I use it all the time. Does it take long to connect? Nope. Wow. Yours takes longer to connect. I haven't noticed that. I've used it a bunch. The only reason it's not in there now is it doesn't fit in my bag as good. B-Bird says, working on Fractal 65 Pro using the HDZero AIO, trying to decide what kind of KV I want. That's going to be tough, man. That HDZero AIO is going to kill a little bit of your runtime. The Fractal frame is definitely going to kill your runtime. So if you haven't bought, if you're dead set on using that frame, you're going to want as low of a KV as you can stomach, because that frame is going to, again, just hammer your runtimes. If you're looking for, if the reason that you're running that frame is that you don't want ducts in view, you can get gobs of extra runtime and flight performance by using my Batwing mount, which you can print for free from my Discord on a, I can't flip this upside down because the screws will fall out, on a Newbie Drone Cockroach V3 frame. Cockroach 65 V3 frame. You'll get much better, much more power and much better runtime out of that setup over any of the Fractal stuff. If you're using it to be different, or because you think that a carbon fiber frame is going to perform better, you know, by all means. It's not. It'll definitely be different, but it's not going to let you PID tune harder. I mean, it will let you PID tune harder, but it won't fly any better. On the plastic frames, you can get the PID tune aggressive enough that you don't get any prop wash, and at that point, like, you should stop pushing the gains up. So yeah. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, I'm going to build my 1S 65mm 04 rig with modded lens. Very cool. Already have my 2S 75mm rig. That convinced me to do a 65. Nice. King Dingling says, building 3-inch now because some beautiful gangly bastard kept sending me 3-inch props the last 2 months. Islander FPV says, I'm converting my Mavio 704 to 2-inch using a Petrol 85 frame. Would you recommend the BetaFPV or HappyModel 1103 motors? I've never run the BetaFPVs. I've only run the HappyModels, and they're really good. The BetaFPVs are probably fine too. Midnight Jesus with the last comment of the live stream, he says, I never thought to ask what cam angle do you typically fly with. Tiny whoops, I do between like 10 and 20 degrees. Big stuff, big like 5-inch freestyle stuff, 30 degrees. Cine whoops, roughly like 10 degrees. And then the RC drift car chasing stuff, 0 degrees. I'm going to explode. I love you guys. Bye. I'm not ready. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Oh, come on. Work, work, work. Please just work. Work. Please work.